Hey, what's going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and in case you do not know, this is something I like to do here at the end of the year for my last video that I upload on the channel. I've been doing this for several years, and in the last few years I've also been doing something different where the second to last video I upload on the channel is going through every single game I have finished that year. So I actually went through that, and the last video, if you want to see what I thought of all this stack of games right here, just every single one, when I beat it, my thoughts, all that fun stuff, you can certainly check that out. Now, I'm not going to be going through that here. I did talk about the games that I finished, of course. I did talk about my game of the year, but I didn't reveal which one it would be, because that would be for this video. But I can say that it was not a digital title, and it is in the stack of games. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. What is my game of the year for 2020? A game that came out this year that I also end up finishing this year. Well, it ended up being Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is a game that not only I, but many people have really been waiting for. I pretty much cleared out my schedule for this game, and I gotta say, memes aside, issues aside, low quality textures aside, this game is absolutely fantastic. I loved playing through this game. I loved almost every moment of it. At one point it got a little bit fetch questy, but it redeemed itself. I will say though, maybe the only bad part for me, well, there was, bad as in like, this is just a thing I was like, damn it, like, this is gonna throw it off. Spoiler alert right here, spoiler I will say. This game is divided up into chapters, and the last chapter pretty much turns into Kingdom Hearts. And when that happened, when that realization came about me, I just looked at the screen and I just said, God damn it. Like, I said that out loud because I'm like, seriously, we were doing so well so far, and then this ended up happening. Now, a lot of the criticism I've heard is pretty true on here. Like, yes, you have to get through a lot of you have to get through the storyline to get through a lot of gameplay. It's a lot slower because this is pretty much the first 5 hours of Final Fantasy VII stretch out to about 25 or 30 hours. But damn is it good. And it honestly makes me excited for the Part 2 remake. Because Part 2 is supposed to be the rest of the game. This is just what takes place in Midgar. And if you have played Final Fantasy VII, you know that all the good stuff, all the really good stuff, all the iconic moments, all the best parts of the game happen outside of Midgar. So that's what had me kind of concerned, where I was like, really, if they're just going to zoom into Midgar a ton, how good is this going to be? But it ended up being awesome, and man, I loved it. I was really worried this is going to go through development hell and not be very good, kind of like Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't really the best. There was other games that just were kind of lackluster. Duke Nukem Forever was another one. This one, maybe the only telltale sign of it is when you see an incredibly high quality character next to a door that looks like it was ripped out of a PS2 game. That's when I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of a disconnect and kind of an issue right here. But maybe the last thing I'll say on this as well before I get into another part on this is this game made me cry twice. Now, some people are just like, really, it did? And others are like, oh, only twice? Okay, depending on who you might talk to. But I'll talk about the scenes. I don't mind this as much because aside from like the last part there, the spoiler, the rest of it is really going to be the other two parts I'm going to mention here are, well, maybe one of them. Really what I'm saying is the core story is old at this point. The game originally came out in 1997. You've had plenty of time to at least get acclimated to the story. But man, when they introduce Aeris, not like initially, but when Cloud is in the church and he wakes up and sees Aeris, or Aerith, excuse me. Names, I'm getting them mixed up there. That scene just hit me. Like, it was so, like, just the visuals, the presentation, the sound, the delivery of everything, just the music, like, it was so well done and so well organized there. Like, man, I just lost it. Like, it was one of those things, it wasn't like a sad moment or anything that hit me. It was just like, I have been waiting for this. I've been so invested in this series here because I also replayed Final Fantasy VII earlier this year and I got acclimated to it. And I will say for anybody who is debating that, because some people have asked, well, if I haven't played the original, is it worth going back to play the original? What should I do? I'll say this, you're okay either way. If you jump straight into the remake, you'll be fine. This is its own game. If, however, you decide you want to play through the original, I would actually encourage that. Because if you play through the original and then play through remake, you'll be able to make all the contrasts and comparisons and, probably enjoy the remake even more for what it is. The second scene ended up being when Aerith ended up picking up Marlene. And she ended up seeing her and such inside of Seventh Heaven. And that was just another scene where I was like, this is just so good. All right, this is so well done. I absolutely love it. Yo, I'm losing it right here. So it was just little scenes like that. Maybe that's kind of like the fanboy in me right there, the Final Fantasy VII fanboy overreacting. I have no idea what's going to happen in Part 2 to me, mentally, physically, emotionally, because we all know the shit that happens in Part 2, but we'll see. So this was not going to be like my straightaway type thing. I did have to think about it, and let me grab my other game because it ended up falling right here. But my other game that I was thinking could be my game of the year, and I had to balance this out, ended up being Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I mentioned this in my previous video, but I'm one of those people, I didn't even know you could finish this game. I thought this was just a complete open-ended game where it's just a life simulator. You just go in, you live, you do your own thing. There's no end goal. There's no like missions or anything in here. And I do not do well with those games. You give me a game where I'm going from point A to point B and maybe I can explore a little bit. That is great for me. But any of those open-ended, completely open world games where there's just like, you just go in and exist, those are not for me. Like, I tried the original Animal Crossing when I was a kid, like, many times, and I could not get into it. So I had to shift my mindset entirely when I picked up Animal Crossing New Horizons. I said, I gotta pick up this game, I'm not going to have an end goal, I just need to enjoy it, and I really enjoyed it for what it was. Now, I will say that the base game is, it does get boring after a bit, and this is not a game you just binge and binge and binge. You play it for, like, 30 minutes to 2 hours, every day or every few days, something along those lines. So a lot of people who just binged it got really bored, but I will say the updates have been great on here. I think it also really got enhanced that it decided to come out this year of all years, and everything ended up happening, and everyone just wanted something nice and cute and an escape, so they went into Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think that very much worked in its favor. But the content updates, the overall culture that it has had that has been based around this, where literally everyone was playing Animal Crossing and talking about it, that was great. And I think 2020, although it was not the best year, it was the perfect year for Animal Crossing if Animal Crossing was a living being. Animal Crossing New Horizons specifically. The reason why I'd kind of debated between these two is because I was thinking, well, this game, I loved everything about it, but this game I've put a ton of hours into it, at least for me. Now, this is still probably rookie numbers compared to many other people, but at this point, I've put in about maybe 130, 140 hours. And I've already beat the game. Beat it for what you can do. Yes, you can actually beat this game. I'll tell it here as well. If you did not know, you can beat this game by, I believe, getting 7 villagers on your island, getting a 3-star rating for your island, and then getting KK Slider to come to your island and attend his concert. And at that point, you technically beat Animal Crossing New Horizons. I had no idea you could do that until I put about 65 or 70 hours into the game. But mind you, that's just how it was. I was just going into it just as an existing simulator, as an escapism simulator, so to speak. So I really thought about this. I really thought that this could be it. But I said, you know what? Even though I've put a lot more time into this, even though I'm still playing it months and months and months later, it's a great game, don't get me wrong. But, I don't know. Sometimes an experience, or just an overall experience, or the time you put into a game does not equate it to be your favorite thing or the best thing out there. Sometimes the experiences that come and go are going to be the best ones. And that's something I've learned. It's not so much the hours and the time you're going to put in, it's how much you can really get out of that. And especially in my adult life now, I would rather have a 6-hour, completely kick-ass, awesome game experience as opposed to a long, drawn-out, kind of boring 40-hour game experience. That's just me. Anyways, that's about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Now, I have a question for you all. What was your game of the year? And why was it your game of the year? Or maybe if you just want to answer one question, what was your game of the year? leave it down below in the comments. I do look forward to seeing what you have to say and what your choices might be. Maybe you'll hate both of the things that I picked on here, but I guess we'll see. Either way, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching and listening, everyone. And I guess until next time, if you want to leave a like, that's fine. End out 2020 that way. If you want to end it with a dislike on this video as well, too. But I will see you all next year. Have a safe New Year's.